Morning guys, welcome back to the Tour De Fleece Vlogs. Today is Tuesday the 16th of July and this is the start of the 5th vlog in this series, and today is actually the first official rest day for the Tour De Fleece, which is special because I get to open my first little surprise package from the Crafty Cat Tour De Fleece kit, I guess. And yeah, so right now I'm just gonna open that up in a second. I just have one last row lag left to spin, which I'm going to do now, and I am waiting for our food delivery to arrive, which should be here in sometime within the next hour. So yeah, I'm probably going to stay up here, spin that, open up the package, have a little look through what's in there and enjoy some coffee, and probably start writing my to-do list for the day and the week, and start cracking on with some work. There's a notebook, protein bar and an orifice hook, which is so cute because I've never had like whoops, I just dropped it. Other than the one that came with my Kromsky, I've never had another kind of orifice hook, which is great because my other wheel, Freddie, doesn't actually have an orifice hook, so that works out pretty well. And actually I'd asked in a couple of vlogs back for some ideas for naming my Kromsky wheel, and I had quite a few people come back and say you should name it Ginger, so like Fred and Ginger, like Fred Astaire and Ginger, I can't remember her surname now, but they were like a dancing couple, and yeah, it would be quite cool. So I'm toying with the idea of naming it Ginger, but I don't know, haven't quite settled on that yet. Bobbin 2 finished. Now actually when I put these two together, in a second, you can see that the one with the row lags on it looks like there's more fibre on it. It could be just that there was more fibre in that half that I turned into row lags. Ooh. It could also be that the single gradient, this one, on the lighter coloured bobbin, it could just be that I spun that one finer, which looking at the two bobbins looks to be the case. Not a huge deal. Here we go, this might be better. There we go. In this instance, I used, it was Top from Spin Jones. It's merino and silk. I think it's mulberry silk. So it's merino and silk blend, really lovely, really smooth. And as a top, and both bobbins were spun with my wheel cross-laced, which I showed in my one of my previous vlogs how I did that. And so with the cross-lacing, the top just spun so fine, really rather consistent, and yeah, just really beautifully. With the row lags, however, it was a little bit, this is the point where I think where, because with the plain top I was able to get such a consistent fine spin, I really noticed the difference with the row lags. And so you can see with the row lags, not quite as consistent, not quite as fine all throughout. And I think that's partly two things. One, obviously the row lag prep is not going to be it's not a smooth prep compared to the top that it started out as. And second of all, I spun most of this yesterday when I was probably quite tired and probably shouldn't have been spinning. So it was probably a little bit of user error as well, in terms of like just human error, just in terms of like just being tired and not being as focused on trying to keep a consistent spin. So anyway, that's fine, not a problem. I really don't mind. Like I said, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to my crafting, so I don't mind these little inconsistencies, but I just wanted to talk to you about why I think there's some differences between these two bobbins in terms of what it looks like. So I will apply these at some point today, either later this evening or at some point this afternoon if I want a break. And yeah, so that's where we're at with these. I actually would rather run out of the single gradient first rather than the row lags. So if there is more fibre on the row lag side, I'm not as concerned about it, mainly because if I have leftover from the row lags, it's not a problem, but if I run out of the row lags before I finish the big gradient, then it's not going to work particularly great. It's going to be, one of the colours is going to be cut off early. Anyway, right, so that's my spinning done for now. I think I've got to go grab my notebook, take some notes for today, this week, figure out my plan and what I want to do, and I'm still waiting for the food to arrive, so hopefully that will get here soon. I also forgot to mention earlier that even though today is the official like one of the official rest days for the Tour de France and Tour de Fleece, I'm not taking it as a rest day because I didn't spin the first 2 days of the Tour de Fleece and Tour de France. So I figure instead of the 2 rest days, I've already had those at the beginning. So I want to spin through the whole thing. And I might do less spinning on the rest days, but I will do some spinning. I have some very sad news. Not actually that sad, it's just a bit annoying. I've been working on this sweater for my friend's little baby, and done the shawl colour, done the body, done the first sleeve, got to work the second sleeve, but all I have left, I don't know where it's gone now. Where'd it go? Found it. All I have left is this tiny itty bitty amount of yarn, which is not going to be enough to finish the second sleeve. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip out the shawl collar, knit the second sleeve, and then I'm just going to work a flat collar rather than a shawl collar for this cardigan, and hopefully that will work. Right, so it's been a few hours. I am back upstairs now, and I just wanted to catch you guys up on what I've been up to. I've swatched for a new design. It's actually this way up. I can get it going. This is from that Millspun yarn by Loop Fibre Studio, and I had an original idea for this, and then I changed my mind. I realised the stitch pattern just wasn't going to work particularly well over a sweater, so I decided to swatch for something else. I'm going to pop that outside now on the balcony to dry. Oh, lighting. There we go, that's better. And yeah, so I'm thinking now I'm going to spend some time and make up some fun rolags, maybe a couple of mini bats or something out of this fibre that I dyed. And then I'm going to get to work putting together my fibre share package for my partner. I'm going to start just pulling a few things together, figuring out what I want to include in the package for them, and then maybe start boxing it up and see how much space I have left to squeeze in some more things. But yeah, all right, I will catch up with you guys again soon. I will film the rolag making portion. I won't film the fibre share packing portion because I don't know if my partner watches, but I know she follows me on Instagram, so there's a chance she watches these videos, so I don't want to spoil the surprise for her. So I'm going to sit down and start doing some of these rolags now. I was just checking the weight on some of these little bits, so they're all roughly somewhere in the region of like 12 to 16 grams each of these bits. This one I previously just like floofed out just to get an idea. And I've also grabbed a couple of add-in stuff. So I've got some sari silk and some faux cashmere to play around with. So let's just see what we come up with. Okay, so I did up some rolags. So this was a mix of the blue, yellow and green merino that I dyed. It's a mix of these three, and some sari silk, which I threw in for some texture and some added colour, and I ended up with about 40 grams. And yeah, so that's all bundled up. I did make some more rolags, but I've put those aside for my fibre share partner, so I'm not going to show you those, don't want to spoil it. And yeah, so I think now I'm going to take a break from making rolags and start applying my Spin Jones fibre. Really want to start seeing what that's going to look like, and then if I have time before I have to go pick up Layla, I will cast on a new project. I have a new design that I want to get started, and if I don't cast it on before I go pick her up, I'll definitely be casting that on this evening and working on that. It's my first colourwork sweater design, which I'm really excited about, and it's something a little bit different than what I've seen out there so far, so I'm hoping it will be a nice change, mixing it up a little bit, but also I'm not entirely just gonna be top down, so I'm thinking I've sort of drafted out my idea for how it's going to work with maths and stuff for the neckline and everything, but I'm not sure if I want to switch it up maybe. So I'm going to try and do the first bit, get the first like top of the sweater done in this week, so then I can get the neckline all finished and stuff and see how it fits, and if I like it, and if not, then I will be ripping it out and doing it again, because that's how this works. Right, okay, I'm gonna get set up and start applying. Lighting is really weird. We've got the late afternoon light coming in through this window, so whilst this window is great for morning recording, the late afternoon not so great. It's now 6 p.m. and I've almost finished. I've actually finished applying. One bobbin's run out, but I'm on the pink on the Rolex bobbin, and since I ended the first bobbin on the pink, I'm just gonna do an Andean plying bracelet with the rest of the pink from that part of the Rolex, and then just chain ply the rest. I had to take a break to go pick up Layla from nursery. Just finished giving her a bath, with Perry's still playing with her in the bath, but she's been washed. And I only have about 20 minutes before I have to run off, because I've got Layla's parents' evening tonight, which is really quite cute. So yeah, I'm going to be off doing that, and then when I get back, I'm probably going to cast on that new design. Hey guys, so it's actually not even the morning now. It is gone 1 p.m. on Wednesday 17th of July. I haven't done any spinning yet today. I've been busy working this morning. I got a pattern written up and drafted and sent off to my tech editor, so that was a big thing ticked off of my to-do list for this week. I actually wanted to get it done yesterday, I just wasn't in the right brain space for it, so I did other things yesterday instead, and made good progress all around so far this week, which I'm quite happy about. I also realised today that this week is would be my usual podcasting week, so I'm not sure yet whether or not I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow or not, just because I've been doing all these vlogs. But I think what I might do is, if I do a podcast, if I do decide to record a podcast tomorrow, what I will do is it will be just knitting content and like updates on what's been going on and knit-alongs and stuff. I won't include any spinning content purely because I'm doing all these vlogs and this has all of the spinning content in it already. So I know there's been a little bit of knitting here and there as well, but it's been mainly spinning content. So I think if I just do a standalone knitting podcast this week, then that will get everyone else caught up, the people who aren't necessarily interested in the spinning and who haven't been watching these vlogs. So and I can go into more detail on the knitting side of stuff as well. So I think that might be what I do, but we will see. So yesterday you'll have seen me finish up this spin. I was so excited by this. This has so far been my finest spin to date. I'm so happy with this. Cross-lacing has really made a huge difference, and like I mentioned before, it's made spinning top especially really easy to spin top fine with cross-lacing, for me, I've found. With the Rolex, however, I'm starting to notice the differences and the reasons why some people don't necessarily like spinning with Rolex, especially people who are used to spinning fine yarn. With the Rolex, it was definitely a little bit more difficult, a little bit more, not difficult, it was just a little bit more tricky to get it to be consistent. Rolex, by their very nature, because they are a woolen prep, they tend to be a little bit more textured when they come out, even if they are, when they draft, even if they are a smooth Rolex, sometimes they can come out in clumps and stuff. So I found in that instance, what worked for me was pre-drafting the row lag. My row lags that I do off of my blending board, they're not super dense, so I can just start spinning from one end and go without pre-drafting on the ones that I make myself, because they're not super dense row lags. But if you're having trouble with cross-lacing or just in general getting a fine, smooth yarn from your row lags, try pre-drafting them, because that will give you more, it will obviously just pre-draft the fibers and makes it easier to smooth it out a bit when you're spinning. Having said that, I had Hugo's come to say hi. I'll just turn the camera a bit so you can see it. Ooh, sorry about that. There you go. When I finished spinning this, I actually ended up, I had 12 row lags for, on one bobbin, and the other bobbin was the other half of the fibre just spun straight from the top into like a fractal spin, and I ended up only using up about 10 row lags worth of the fibre for the plying. So I had 2 row lags left worth of fibre on one bobbin, so I chain plied that. And pre-washing, I haven't washed and set the twist on these yet, the main skein yielded, I have my notes, yielded, so it was 134 grams in the main skein, and that gave me 628 yards or 574 meters of a, at the moment, very light fingering weight yarn. And that equates to about 428 meters in 100 grams. So we're talking about grist and stuff here. So about, you know, that would be the equivalent of a lighter fingering weight yarn if you're buying a commercial yarn. 428 meters is like 460 yards roughly. So it's quite a bit. And then the chain ply that I did with the row lags, and bear in mind I said the row lags weren't the smoothest or the easiest to spin fine, so even so they still spun up pretty fine and worked really well in a 3-ply, or chain ply rather, which is a 3-ply, it's kind of 3-ply. And this was 12 grams in total and yielded about 46 yards or 42 meters. And if I extrapolate that up to 100 grams, Hugo, you're eating my fibre. Don't even think about it. I think he was just sniffing it. If I extrapolate that up to 100 grams, that's about 350 meters in 100 grams at this sort of spinning style, thickness. So that is still a pretty decent, that would be the equivalent of like a heavy fingering weight / sport weight, which would be actually perfect for knitting a pair of socks. So I think I might finally be at the point with my spinning where I can attempt spinning for a pair of socks. So that's basically been what I've been trying to do for the last little while, is try to figure out how I can spin thinly enough, spin my singles thin enough and smooth enough in order to be able to make a chain ply sock yarn. And I think 350 meters in 100 grams is a really good amount for me. I rarely use more than 300 meters for a pair of socks. Obviously I want the yarn to be of a certain thickness so that it's going to be comfortable to wear socks in shoes. I don't want them to be really thick socks, even if I do get 300 meters of yarn. So yeah, so I'm quite excited by this. It means I'm finally getting to a point now where I can think about spinning for socks, which is quite fun. The other thing that I did yesterday was I knitted up another swatch for an upcoming design idea that I have. I talked a bit about this yesterday, but the swatch is now dry, so I just have to measure it and take notes on the measurements. I have one of these swatch cards from Bad Betty Knits. She sent me some, like a variety pack a while ago that I reviewed on the podcast, and so now I finally get to use one. So I'll be attaching that to my swatch and taking notes on it. What else have I got to show you? Oh, I've packaged up my fibre share package. I just have to write a little note to go in it, and I'm waiting for her to send me the address so then I can mail it off to her. And yesterday, other than these row lags that I made up and the ones that I put in my fibre share package, I made up some more row lags. I had another little bit of fun with my blending board. So I did one with reds, blues and greens, and I mixed in some sari silks. Get that to focus. Here we go. Red, blues and greens. And then I tried something a little bit different with my blending board, and I used the blues, greens and yellows with some faux cashmere, which is the white that you can see in here. But this all came off of one blending board. All these Rolex came off of one blending board, and you might be wondering how that worked. So what I did was I laid the fibre with horizontal lines along the blending board rather than vertical lines, which is with vertical. So if I show you, maybe that'll be better. I didn't record this because it was quite late last night and I just didn't think to turn the camera on. But okay, so this is the blending board. Well, choking myself here. So with this kind of Rolag, I laid out the colours in strips of like red, blue and green, and then when you pull them off, every Rolag has an equal portion of red, blue and green across it. With this one, I divided up the colours horizontally. So I would have had yellow in this top section, then blue and then green, and then the faux cashmere went all over. So that was really interesting. It was a different way. I need to clean the blending board, but that was a different way of doing a blending board that I thought was a bit interesting, a bit different. Another way to do like maybe a gradient if you didn't want to have like a repeating gradient, like this would be a repeating gradient when you spin it up. With this one you would just go from the yellow to blue to green, or the other way around, whichever way you do it. So it was just fun, it was interesting. I will, if I have time today, I might do up some more just to show you how that works. If not, I'll do that in another vlog or at some point in another video, but I just wanted to talk you through that really quickly. And as for what I'm going to do now, I've done the main big bulk of the work that I wanted to do for today. I still do have a few other things I want to get done, but I also want to get to do some spinning. So I think today I might, I think I have one other like big spin that I have prepped ready to go that I wanted to do during Tour De Fleece. I actually have two big spins, but I have one that I really wanted to do during the tour. So I might get started on that. Otherwise, if I have time, I will probably practice a little bit more with Freddie, my Shapwick Blaze, my new, to me, secondhand spinning wheel. And depending on how things go, I might try replacing the drive band with a slightly looser one, or trying to loosen the one that's on there or something. I'm not sure. That was another recommendation that I had, that the drive band might be too tight. So yeah, we'll give it a go and we'll see where we end up, and I'll be sure to share with you guys what I'm up to. Hey guys, so I've been playing around with Freddie, the Shapwick Blaze wheel, and I've been getting used to it, and it's been doing pretty well. Like, I was able to spin those Rolags with no problem. They were fairly smooth-ish Rolags. They weren't these ones obviously, but they were from some blue and red top that I'd received as one of like the mystery like grab bags that I'd gotten recently, that I think I've shown an unboxing for that a while ago, that I just converted those into Rolags. And spun those, and they spun pretty well. And then I was wanting to, my next sort of like big spin project is this bag of Corriedale Rolags that I've made up in these like rainbow colours, and this was just a little bit left over that I turned into two little Rolags to use for this demonstration. I'm going to demonstrate how I do a long draw style draft. I guess it's more like a supported long draw draft, and yeah, so I had some requests for that, so I thought I'd do that today. And I was trying to do it on the Shapwick Blaze. It just was not working. It kept breaking, even though I was able to spin the other Rolags. This one is just, the staple length is really short on this fibre, like really short. Even though this is Corriedale, but it was from Sliver, so it's just really, really short. And I was finding it really hard to spin that on the other wheel in the style that I wanted, and even with that short forward draw, it just wasn't working. So I switched to my Sonata, Kromsky Sonata, and I was able to spin up that first little row lag absolutely fine, no problem, was able to do it long draw. So I'm going to use this wheel today to show you some fibers and preps won't work as well on certain like tools, I guess, and the other wheel, the draw, the uptake on it is still quite strong. It's I've got it to the point where it's manageable and I can spin on it generally, but this fiber is just too short and my skills are not good enough yet with that wheel to be able to spin this comfortably, and it keeps breaking and it's frustrating, and I spend a good 10-15 minutes trying to get it to work, and I couldn't get like past this first little bit. Actually no, I was spinning it the other way around. Couldn't get it past the orange into the red, so it was just frustrating. So I'm going to spin this now and show you guys how I do it. Okay, so hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing here. I've got the angle down, so hopefully you can see when I pull my arm back everything I'm doing. So I've got my wheel all set up. I'm not cross-lacing this, I'm just spinning regularly, and I'm pulling out a bit of the fibre to start with, looping it through my leader, and I'm going to get going. Oh, it would help if I've set my tension. There we go. I tend to do a bit of a short forward draw to start with, just to get going, and then the one thing I need to always remember when I'm doing like a long draw style draft is that I need to let it build up enough twist before I feed it onto the bobbin. Otherwise, if the fibre does break, if the singles do break, then everything else just keeps falling apart, and when it comes to plying, it can be quite tricky as well. So what I'm doing, I'll show you this next one, is I pinch a couple of inches down from the drafting zone, which is here, this little triangular bit of fibre here, at the end of the row lag. I pinch just a little bit further down from it, and then pull back with my left hand, which is holding the fibre source, and then using the resistance that I'm providing by pinching the front here and pulling back, and let it build up some twist, and then feed it on. Some people can just use the resistance against the actual wheel itself. I can do that sometimes, but it doesn't always work out particularly well, and I just find doing it supported like this, the sort of pinch and release, pinch, pull back, release, is kind of the method. So I just pinch, pull back, release, pinch, pull back, release, pinch, pull back. And then you can also make any adjustments if you need to as you're going along. So for example, if I get a bit where a huge clump comes out like that, and I don't want it like this, and I don't necessarily want that, I can go back and pinch in front of it, untwist it a little bit and draft it a little bit, and then let the twist come back in, and that sort of smooths it out a little bit. For this particular, oh, here is another example. So you can sort of untwist it, pull it out, draft it a bit more, and then let the twist in and keep going. I kind of do that when I do a short forward draw as well sometimes. If I get a big clump through and I want to fix it, just stop, pinch ahead of it, between it and the orifice essentially, and then untwist it, draw it out, and then let the twist back in. I hope that all makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm actually making much sense with what I'm saying. I'm trying to just explain it in a way that makes sense to me, and hope that it makes sense to you as well. See, like here I have a piece here which is a bit thicker, so I just pinch in front of it, untwist it with my left hand, draw it out a bit, and then let the twist back in. Oh, and just broke it. That's fine. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I hope you find that interesting. If you found that useful, please let me know. If you didn't, or you need it to be shown in a different way, or you want me to try and show you again in more detail somehow, I'm not sure. But if you want another like demonstration from a different angle maybe, then let me know and I can do that. What's Mommy doing?
Mommy doing work.
Is Mommy doing work?
Yes. Mommy, Dad's doing work outside.
Yeah, Daddy's doing work outside. What did you do today?
Look at Nessie, Darcy, Sasha.
Oh, you went dancing at nursery with Sasha? Yeah? Is Sasha your friend? Yeah? Oh, did you find Mommy's tape measure?
Yes.
You want to play with it?
Yes, do.
What'd you say?
Please, Dad, Mommy.
Yes, you can. You can play with it, honey. If you ask nicely. Oh, you're playing with that? Okay. I thought you were looking for the tape measure. What else did you do at nursery today?
Mommy.
Yes, honey?
Mommy.
Yeah, what'd you...
That one.
Oh, thank you, Layla. What did you do at nursery today?
I want to play that one.
Okay, you can play with that one. Do you know how to make it go back? Although I think you broke that one a little bit. It doesn't work as well. Oh my goodness!
Oh
Have you done it? Is it all gone?
no! Mom did that.
I'm doing it again. Wow! Look at you.
Mommy, oh,
You want Mummy's help?
that's two. Mommy did it.
Oh, it's a bit broken now, isn't it?
Mommy did it.
Yeah, Mummy did it. Do you want to have a look?
It's it.
Be gentle with it.
Mommy did it. That one.
Yeah, Mummy did the red one. And the other colours too. Can you tell me what other colours you see? What other colours are there?
Now it's this. Mommy did this big series.
Yeah, Mummy did it. Do you like it?
Mommy.
Thank you, honey. Good job. Mummy's going to put another bobbin on her wheel to do the rest of it later.
Mommy did that one.
Yeah.
Mommy that one. Two.
Yeah.
Mommy that one.
Yeah, Mummy will do the rest later.
Mommy did that one too.
Yeah, Mummy's going to do this one as well, but she'll do it later after you've gone to bed. Alright, so Layla's asleep, we've had our dinner, and I've finished spinning the first bobbin. You'll have seen that earlier whilst Layla was up with me. And yeah, now I'm just settling in. Perry's got some work calls this evening, so I'm on my own, which is fine. We had dinner together and had a good chat and stuff, so all's good. And so yeah, I finished the first bobbin. I'm going to get on and spin the second bobbin and see how far I get. I only have these 5 row lags to go, and spinning long draw is actually is quite quick. I just have to be careful and remember I put in enough twist. The only other thing is with this particular fibre, this corridor, is so it sheds a lot. Like, it lets off a lot of like dust and particles and stuff. So like my dress was absolutely covered in bits when I went to pick up Nugget, and I was just like, wow, outside the nursery, and I looked down, I was like, oh my goodness, I look ridiculous, especially because I'm wearing a black dress as well, so it was just, it did not look good. So everything showed up a lot, like really badly, and it wasn't until I got home that I realized I had a bit of fluff stuck to my shoulder. So we had that too. That was there the whole time while I was chatting to a teacher, and no one said anything. Oh well. There we go. Not sure if you can see it clearly or not, but my dress is absolutely covered in stuff that's come off that fibre while I've been spinning it. So it's all this little like dust and little particly bits. It spins really well, but it's just really dusty. Alright, now we're done with the 2 bobbins, and I'm going to get to applying them because I just can't wait. And I'm watching the newest Independence Day film, which is on TV, so I'm gonna apply and watch TV. Morning guys. So if you can't tell by my voice, I'm not feeling particularly great today. Just before I went to bed last night, I could start to feel like a sore throat coming on, and I didn't sleep well at all last night. It kept being too hot or too cold, and woke up this morning and I'm pretty sure I'm definitely getting sick. Not the best timing, but anyway, and I say not the best timing because Perry's going to be away next week in New York for work, and I'm going to be here with Layla on my own, which is not a problem. It's just, it's a bit more difficult if I'm sick to do the things I normally do. Anyway, all that being said, I finished my big fat skein last night. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I did do a I actually did some colour management this time in a way that I hadn't done before when spinning, and I wanted to talk through that with you guys, and I will do that in a second, but I just wanted to show it to you compared to the first skein that I'd spun. So this first skein was just 2 row lags spun and then plied together, and I did this a few weeks ago now, and I really liked how it turned out, so I wanted to do a bigger spin using the same fibres and stuff. So I made up more row lags and now I finally spun them. It's about 151 grams so far, and it's come up to about 314 yards or 287 meters pre-washing. I'm gonna attempt to slightly full it a little bit when I wash it this time, so like dipping it in hot water and then cold water and then hot water and cold water to just ever so slightly felt it, because it's actually my very first like fully like woolen spun, woolen prepped yarn. So you know, the fibres were originally roving or slivers, and then I turned them into row lags and then spun them long draw or supported long draw. So it's about as woolen as it gets when I'm spinning, and it's really light, lofty yarn, and I'm really happy with it. It's about, on average, I'd say it's about a worsted weight. There are definitely thinner spots and a couple of thicker spots, but say on average it's about a worsted weight to like Aran weight maybe. So I'm quite happy with that, really happy with the yardage, and I have a really fun idea for what I want to make with it. So once that's finished, I'll explain that to you, or once I'm ready to do it, I will explain it to you. So what I did for colour management on this one was I'm not sure if I explained this at the beginning when I started spinning it, but I spun one, when I made up the row lags, I weighed them out to make sure I had roughly the same weight row lags being spun in the same order, if that makes sense. So if I had 2 Rolags that were 15 grams, I had one, I'd put them, for example, first in the queue. So the 15 gram Rolag would be the one spun first on one bobbin and also spun first on the second bobbin. So hopefully the equally weighted Rolags would be spun together, applied together so when it came to plying, so hopefully the color transitions would be somewhat similar, I guess, just so there wouldn't be too much like overlap of the different colors. So I spun 5 Rolags on one bobbin and 5 Rolags on the other bobbin, and when it came to plying, it all started out fine, but then by the time I got to the end of like the first Rolag on one bobbin, I was still just at the beginning of the last color on the second bobbin. So what I did was I broke the fiber, the singles from the bobbin that had finished the first Rolag earlier, and then I did an Andean plying bracelet for the rest of that equivalent first Rolag on the second bobbin, 2-plied that, and then I rejoined the strands again from the start of the next set of Rolags, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It's a bit hard to explain, I think. I thought it might be easier if I had something a little bit more visual to explain what I meant. So I had 5 sets of Rolags on each bobbin, and they were all being spun in the same direction. So when I started plying, I would ply together, but then at some point one bobbin would, for example, one bobbin I would have spun thinner than the other. So for example, at one point, you know, I would have finished with the yellow end on one bobbin, but the other one I was still had a bunch to go. So what I would do, I'd cut the single at the end of the yellow on the one that finished first, and then I would wind the rest onto my hand into an Andean plying bracelet and finish that as a 2-ply on the bobbin, and then I would reattach from the beginning of the next set of Rolags on both bobbins to my plied yarn and keep going that way. And then I would keep doing that to make sure that everything lined up a bit better. So there was definitely overlaps in colour within each pair of Rolags being plied together, but it just meant that the beginning and ends of each Rolags, it kept the colour separation a bit more clear, I guess, and it prevented there being too much, it skewing too much over the course of the plying. So, you know, at the beginning, the first pair might have been off by half a colour repeat, but then the next pair of Rolags might have been off by another half, but then by that point you would have been off by a whole colour change, which meant that going forward all of your yarn would be bubble poling the whole way through to the end, which wasn't what I wanted. So doing that kind of colour management worked out really well and gave me the yarn I wanted at the end, so without wasting any fibre. So I didn't want to just cut the yarn, cut the single, wind it off and rejoin and keep going, because I just felt like such a waste. Don't know why the camera's not focusing. There we go. That's Hugo, if you can hear him crying in the background. Not sure what he's crying about, he's on the cat tree. Anyway, so that was that. I wanted to update you on that one. Also, today is the first challenge day for Tour De Fleece, so I've got my little challenge day package to open up and we'll see what's in here. So this is from the Crafty Cat Tour De Fleece kit. Ooh, Scotland. Challenge day, UK Gotland hand prepared from fleece. And actually I have spun Gotland before, so I have an idea of how this works. But it's, oh, there we go. Let's open it up. So this is fibre that she will have prepared herself. Really lovely. It's quite soft. And yeah, this should be fun. So I'll probably spin this today. And it smells beautiful. It smells so nice. But yeah, so I'll give that a go and see what this turns into. I'll probably just do a 2-ply or a chain ply and see what we get out of this. So other than all of that, my other plans for today are to chain ply the Rolags that I was practicing with on Freddie yesterday and to prep this fibre for spinning. So I did have a braid of, what was it? Shetland silk that I'd, don't know what Hugo's crying about. Hugo! So I did have a braid of Shetland silk that I had set aside to spin to go along with the rainbow fractal that I did from Spin Jones, but I've changed my mind and I'm not sure I'm going to spin that now, and so I've switched in this braid. This is from the Shepherd's Hut and it is the camouflage colorway on the Rambouillet base. It's a 100-gram braid of Rambouillet, which is so squishy. And yeah, so I'm going to prep this fibre. I'm probably just going to strip it down into thin strips and then just spin it really and see where we end up with, I'm not aiming for a particular weight. I may or may not try cross-lacing with it. We'll see how it goes. I just want something relaxing and fun, and I really enjoy spinning Rambouillet, so that's what I've decided to do. What I might do is I might turn half of it into Rolags and half spin it as it is from the braid and just see what happens. Bit of experimentation, never hurt anybody. All right, with that I think I've done enough talking for now. I'm gonna finish my coffee and I do have a bit of work I need to do today as well, so yeah. As for the podcast, I'm not sure I'm feeling up for it today, to be quite honest. It might end up having to be next week now, but that's fine. I'm sure you guys don't mind. Hey guys, so today is Friday the 19th of July and yeah, I didn't really film much yesterday, at least I don't think I did. I don't feel like I did. I didn't do much spinning yesterday either. I spun half of one bobbin of that Rambouillet fibre that you saw me prep, and that's all I did. I did do quite a bit of knitting yesterday. I finished that little baby cardigan, which I'll show you later. And I started on a new sweater design, which I'm really excited about, and it looks like it's working out, which is really nice. And so I just want to get through the first section of it and make sure the numbers all work and it fits okay, and then I'm going to start writing it up and getting that over to my tech editor. The most challenging part of this sweater is the top portion up to the sleeve separation. It's a top down sweater, so once I get to that point, the rest of it's fairly simple and straightforward knitting. So once I get through that first section, I can write up the pattern and send it off, which will be really exciting. And then hopefully I can get that out to testers soon. I currently have 2 sweaters being test knit, so if you are interested in test knitting, I do have a I will try and remember to put a link to the sign up questionnaire down below, and you can sign up and you'll be notified of any future test knits that come up. And yeah, so because I have 2 sweaters currently being test knit, you can probably hear Layla in the background. Perry's getting ready and Layla's downstairs with him, so try and do this quickly whilst they're busy. Anyway, so because I currently have 2 sweaters being test knit, a lot of my usual testers are currently testing, so when this one comes up, I might need some more people. So if I can't fill it through my usual pool of testers, then I do usually ask on Instagram for more people. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was another idea I had for a spinning experiment. So I had 4 rolags that I pulled off of one blending board a while ago when I was messing around in these colours. And so each rolag went from this dark red through to this like mustardy yellow colour. And as you can see, these rolags are not intact anymore. So I broke them all up according to their colour sections, because each rolag weighed a different amount and I wanted fairly equal amounts for this spinning idea that I had. So what I wanted was 1/4 spun as one single and 3/4 spun as one single. So this will be spun on one bobbin and this will be spun on another bobbin, but in the opposite colour direction, like in this direction compared to this. So what then I'm going to do is I'm going to chain ply this amount, so it'll be a 3 ply, but then I'm going to hold one strand of this single with it, so it'd actually be a 4 ply, with this being the chain ply, 3 plies, and this will be the 4th ply held along with it, but in the opposite direction. I think that would be really quite cool. So I prepped this just before I went to bed last night. The idea came to me about 5 minutes before I sat down to do it, and I have an idea of like, I think this would be a really fun like alternative to, it's not really a fractal, but like a fun alternative for gradient yarns and like gradient spins in general. So and so yeah, that's what I'm going to do with this as a sample to see if it works and if the idea actually looks as good as it does in my head. So yeah, I think that would be quite fun. I did experiment with that style of spinning a while ago. I'd seen, not sure where I saw it. I saw it on a YouTube video, I think, someone doing a chain ply and holding a 4th strand with it, either like a metallic thread or like some other single that you have that goes well with it. So I think it'd be quite fun to experiment with that, to get a nice 4 ply, and it'll be quite a thick yarn comparatively, I mean for me anyway, because I can't spin my singles super thin yet. I can get them fairly thin, but yeah, so I wanted to weigh it out and make sure I had as accurate distribution by weight as possible, so 1/4 of the fibre here and 3/4 here. So I divided up the rolags into the different colour sections and weighed each section, and then made sure I had 1/4 of it separated off, or as close to 1/4 separated off for this fibre. So hopefully we should have fairly good colour distribution. So yeah, that was really it. That's all I wanted to catch you up on. Today my friend Joe is heading over to visit us and hang out with me and Layla today, so that should be quite fun. The weather's looking a little bit iffy, so it's quite warm, it's humid, it's muggy, it is brewing for a thunderstorm, which I hope happens soon, because it's just, I can't deal with this humidity. Yesterday it was like 94% humidity. It was horrible, and I've been not feeling great the last couple of days. Like I really didn't do much yesterday. I felt quite bad actually, because I had so much I wanted to get done and I just didn't even get half of it done. But at the same time, I know I'm just not feeling great. I've got a really bad sore throat. I did not sleep well last night, and yeah, it's been a bit rubbish, to be honest. But my parents are coming to visit this weekend, so that should be nice and fun. I think we're going to go visit Perry's parents tomorrow morning, and then my parents are coming around in the afternoon, and they're staying the weekend. And then Perry leaves on Sunday afternoon to go to New York for the week, so that should be interesting. I'm sure it'll be fine. And then and yeah, so it'll be just me and Nugget next week, which would be nice. But yeah, that's it for now. I probably won't get to spinning till later this evening after Layla's gone to bed. Like I said, I'm going to be out and about with Joe and Layla today, but I will be sure to vlog little bits as we go, and yeah, I'll catch up with you guys later. Little one insisted on the stroller, and we're taking Mummy's fibre share package to be mailed out. Yeah, we're going to go post it, aren't we? Yeah.
colour is this one? Is it green? Orange. Good girl. And what else do we see? Oh, let's see. Can you hear it rattles? What do we see now? I go to the back and push? Yeah? Do you want to go hi, hi, hi? Layla's going to mommy. Layla's favourite colour. Yes, let's see the red one. I think they're cute.
They look like them. What is it?
Leaf.
A leaf? Well done.
Leaf there.
Yeah, there's leaves on the floor as well, aren't they, on the plants? You want to get down?
No. Then I got it.
Oh, you got the leaf?
Well done, you. Again. Oops. Yeah, that's you. Lift it up and it comes out easier, doesn't it?
Can Mummy help you?
Yes. Another open outside.
What do you think?
No. Mummy's.
Is it Mummy's?
Yes.
Thank you, Layla.
Mummy's.
Oh, around Mummy's. Alright, so it's now the end of the day on Friday. Joe has left. We've had dinner. Layla's getting ready for bed. I just thought I'd quickly show you this cardigan, which I've now finished. This is the double Dutch cardigan for my friend's little baby. I used every little scrap of yarn in this. And so instead of doing a shawl collar, I just did a flat collar. I didn't put in any button bands because what I'm going to do, buttonholes, I'm going to put in like poppers instead of buttons. And Joe was really sweet and kind and brought me a little gift, another braid of fibre from Bevel's Travelling Yarns from Lovely Grace, which she picked up at Woolen, which I wasn't able to go to. She also brought some lovely little things for Layla, and which she's already playing with and put away. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. I haven't done any spinning yet. I will do some spinning this evening, but I want to get this vlog edited because my parents are coming tomorrow, so I'm not going to have a lot of time to edit. So I wanted to get this vlog edited tonight if possible, and hopefully it will go up tomorrow, and or tonight even, maybe, who knows. And yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.